Gentlemen, if you're not getting sex in your relationship, she's giving it to somebody. Women don't just go without sex like that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared podcast. I'm your host, Austin Creed, and my friends, today we're going to talk about learning the language of women. So, it wasn't recently, but it was somewhat in the recent past. I read the book called The Manipulative Man by Vilar, and it changed my life in a lot of ways. The reason I say that is because as a man, you have a certain existence, and as a woman, you have a totally different existence. This is an unavoidable fact. But one of the things that a lot of men don't understand about women in particular is that women operate differently than men. I know that's not popular to say today. I understand that a lot of people make it a point to pretend like men and women are just interchangeable and there's no biological or biochemical difference, but there is. I don't know what else to tell you. And women use a certain language. They almost speak in code to other women. And Esther Vilar is a woman, by the way. So this is a woman talking about the different language that women speak, especially in the presence of men. Well, they'll say one thing, knowing that you'll take it that way, but what they actually mean is something totally different, and the women all picked up on it. So, this is not strictly limited to just like dating and whatnot. This is in general with politics and whatnot. We see the same thing with Aesopian language. So, not to make things too political, but you ever read the Aesop fables as a kid? You know, like the Lion and the Mouse, the crow, and you get what I'm talking about? Like maybe even the frog and the scorpion. I forget if that's one of his or not. They Nancy the spider, like these kind of stories, these fables that don't have explicit meanings, they have to be inferred. Women operate in very much the same way, where their meanings have to be inferred. You have to look at what they're not saying or what they're alluding to, not what's directly being spoken to you. And we're going to look at a couple of videos and we're going to break them down, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm not just going to tell you to take my word for it. We're going to actually break this down and we're going to have a conversation about it. So without further ado, let's look at the first video. This is married couple. Okay, no, anyway, let's not do that one. Let's do this one first. Honest pieces of advice for men from women. Let's look at what she's got to say.
Boys, listen up. Ladies, let me know if I'm right. This is my extremely honest advice for guys when it comes to shooting your shot from a girl's perspective. Ooh, sliding into a girl's DMs and you're private and you don't even have a profile picture. Stranger danger. Girls are not answering. Who are you? Okay, girls can tell when you act single. And I know you know what I mean.
Oh, of course
There is a very fine line between acting extremely single and acting really taken. Just be yourself. If you are shooting your shot and you want a girl to remember you and like stay in her mind, give her a compliment that she probably hasn't received before. This weekend, a guy came up to me and he told me that I had really nice teeth, and I've never been told that before, so I'm literally still thinking about him. Hi. Part 2?
What? Okay, we're gonna break that down. We're gonna rewatch it. I know it might be painful for you to listen, but we're gonna do it again. And I'm gonna break it down what she actually said. Now, you probably took it at face value and you thought it wasn't bad advice. No, it was pretty bad advice because that's not what she actually said. Let's look at what she actually said.
Boys, listen.
First of all, anytime a woman calls you a boy, she's immediately talking down to you as if you were a child, okay? So automatically we're framing this in a very negative light, and she's emasculating you and humiliating you right out the gate, just so you know.
Listen up. Ladies, let me know if I'm right. This is my extremely honest advice for guys when it comes to shooting your shot from a girl's perspective.
Just so you know, anytime anyone says they're being extremely honest, they're lying. You have to say you're being honest, you're not being honest. That's like the same thing as someone saying, oh, just trust me. Well, I was going to, but now that you told me to trust you, now I'm having second thoughts. It's kind of along the same lines as that. And also, look, she says in a caption and above, says, I'm not wearing makeup, I don't want to hear it. See, now she's extremely... Women are very insecure, by the way. In case you didn't know that, gentlemen, women are very insecure. So a lot of times when they tell you that, like, oh, I don't do this for a man, I don't do this, blah, 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 they're using their own language to justify, they're not actually saying what they're saying. They're saying something different. What they're saying is, I'm trying to get validation, but I also I want only the good things. I don't want the bad. In other words, I want the positive results of wearing makeup, but I also don't want the negative results of people finding out that's not what I actually look like. That's what she's saying.
Oh, sliding into a girl's DMs and you're private.
In other words, you're not a celebrity, or in other words, if you're an average guy, don't hit her up. That's what she's saying. If you're an average guy, you're not an influencer, you're not a celebrity, you're not a millionaire or a billionaire, she's not listening.
And you don't even have a profile picture. Stranger danger. Girls are not answering.
Yeah, of course not, because you're not Chad. You're not Tyrone. You're not Mr. Sexy with a nice car. That's why she's not going to answer you.
Who are you?
Yeah, she doesn't know who you are. She can't look you up on it. She can't Google your name and then immediately like 11 things show up talking about how your net worth is this, you've done this, you've been in this movie, you've been in this TV show, whatever. You're sponsored by this brand. If she doesn't see any of that, she's immediately not interested.
Okay. Girls can tell when you act single.
In other words, you don't have hoes. You don't have 304s chasing you. You don't have women hitting you up on Instagram. You don't look like you get bitches. In plain English, that's what she's saying. That is what she's saying. If you don't look high value, for lack of a better term, I think that's Kevin Samuels' thing. If you don't act like you are that guy, if you don't seem like that guy, you don't have the car, the look, the attitude, the social media, all that to go with it, she's not interested. If other women don't look like they'd be interested in you, she's not interested in you. But she also says on the flip side, if you look too taken, then it's a negative thing. So in other words, if you look like you are so attractive and have so many options, she's going to be very, very, very insecure, and she's more likely to chase you even more or just drop out. That's what she's saying. She wants to think she has a chance without being reminded that she literally is shooting so far out of her league that it's not possible.
And I know you know what I mean.
Oh, I did. I just broke it down. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The girl, see, she's talking to the ladies. Ladies know what she's talking about. The men, they're going to think, oh, well, what does that mean? Don't act too single. What it means is don't act like you don't get no girls.
There is a very fine line between acting extremely single and acting really taken.
Women like men who have other women, by the way, in case you don't know that. I know that's not popular to say, and women will probably tell me I'm a liar. Women will lie about this, by the way, because it makes them look bad. See, gentlemen, when you look at how women treat men, that's how they want to be treated. In case you didn't know that. You know why women like cats? Women like cats because cats engage with them when they want to. They don't give them any... They're bored, they leave. They have the woman chase their validation. That's why women like cats. Men like dogs because dogs are loyal and consistent creatures. Most women don't like dogs like that. Some do, but most don't. Most are inclined to like cats, and that's exactly why. Women like men who have other options. That's called having social proof or social validation. If a woman sees that other women like you, that means you have to have something going for you in the first place, or that woman would not even entertain you being around. So now she's interested as to what it is about you that the other women now like, which means now she's thinking about you, which means now that you're on her mind, you're now interesting to her, versus the other 50 guys who hit her up in the DMs or talked to her today that wasn't interesting and didn't look like they had any women after them. That's how that works.
Be yourself. If you are shooting your shot and you want a girl to remember you and like stay in her mind, give her a compliment that she probably hasn't received before.
Gentlemen, don't ever compliment women. Don't do it. You know why I say that? Because women get complimented on everything. What's the first thing you hear a lot of? If you look up game guys on the internet, like the guys who cold approach and do all these goofy things, women, but what's the first thing they do? And they say to a woman, most likely, "Oh, girl, you beautiful. How you doing? My name is X, Y, or Z." That's what they say. First thing they usually say is, "Oh, wow, you're really good looking," or "You're really pretty," or whatever. That's one of the first things they say. Women are showered by compliments every day. and yet they somehow manage to chase the guy who does not give them validation. You know why that is? If you know the answer, then you're closer to the truth. Because you now stand out. You're now part of the small percentage of men who now, she's like, wait a minute, if he's not complimenting me, that must mean that he has either options or he's not interested in me, and women can't stand a man not being interested in them. They now have to convince you to be attracted to them, or they gotta tear you down a peg. They make it their mission to do it. Women have very large egos. Men have egos too, but women's egos are so much vastly bigger than men, you feel me? Let's keep going.
This weekend, a guy came up to me and he told me that I had really nice teeth, and I've never been told that before, so I'm literally still thinking about him.
I guarantee you that guy was good looking. If you were a guy who looked weird, or you looked disheveled, or you weren't hot, and you said that, she would think you're a weirdo. But I guarantee you that guy looked really good. He had a good jawline. He was probably dressed nice. He smelled nice. All these things. And that's why she thought about him, not about what he said. This is why we talk about men being creepy versus men being cool. It has nothing to do with what you said. It has everything to do with who you are that said it. That's what separates you being creepy versus not creepy.
Hi. Part 2?
Okay, I've had enough of that woman. See, that's what I'm talking about. See how she said one thing, but what she actually meant was something different? This is what we talk about when we talk about learning the language of women, because they don't speak in the same way that men do. They'll use indirect inferences, they'll use passive-aggressive attacks, they'll use these things to try to get... They're covert, they're not overt, they're not gonna... Most women will never confront you. They'll do something shady around the back, they'll do something that you don't see, and then that's why you're shocked by it. So, alright, here's the next clip I have for you guys. Married couple gives advice. So, this guy's gonna be interviewing this couple, and let's see what he's got to say.
Are you married?
Yes.
How long have you been married?
25 years.
Wow, that's amazing. What's your advice for couples that are looking to have a long and healthy relationship?
Listen to your wife.
Oh, no.
Oh, hell no!
Did he just say what Denzel Washington says of happy wife, happy life? Look at this guy, man. Look at her laughing in the background like, I got this dude on a leash. Look at this woman. Oh my goodness. See, these are the kinds of Christian men who you go to for advice, and all they do is tell you to listen to your wife. That's all they do. That's all they tell you to do. They don't tell you to man up and cuff your balls. They don't tell you to make a decision because you're supposed to be the leader. What kind of leadership is this? Listening to somebody else. That's not what leaders do. Leaders make choices. They don't submit to other people. But you see, this is the double standard in the Christian community. They want you to be a man and man up when it suits them, but then they also want you to be a follower when it suits the other person. You don't have the power in America especially, you don't have the power to tell your wife to get behind you and to listen to you. She'll just divorce you. She'll just withhold sex from you. She will do all these things, and she's incentivized to do it because at any point she can walk away and take your stuff and your kids and make you the problem. Now, will every woman do that? No. But can they? Yes. Yes, they can.
Whatever she says goes.
How did you learn that lesson?
2 failed marriages.
Oh, that's even worse. Oh my goodness. So he's been married 3 times. Gentlemen, I'm not even gonna get married once. Why in the world would you... See, it's these old ass boomers and Gen X people that are like really on the old... really old Gen Xers or really young boomers. They're the people who put this idea forward that like you gotta keep trying. This isn't a video game. This isn't a Dark Souls boss where you keep fighting it time after time after respawning. This is real life.
Third one I learned.
You think that's the reason that the last 2 failed?
Yes.
How long have both of you been married?
Like 11 years old.
Since you were 11 years old?
Yeah, from Cuba.
So what would be your advice for a long and healthy marriage?
Do what she say. That's it.
You ever... Gentlemen, I can't help but notice that these men are all out of shape. They look a little goofy. And they don't seem particularly happy. Just so you know, I pick up on this stuff. And notice the women are just laughing and they're not saying anything. They're not saying anything because they know no matter what they say, they're probably going to get held accountable for it.
it. Trust me, that's it. Don't do any more. No,
Look at her. She's laughing. She's laughing because she's like, yeah, he's basically, he's my bitch. That's what she's saying.
even think anymore. She says something, you make it.
What kind of male leadership is this? This is disgusting.
How long have you been married?
42 years.
What's your advice for a long and healthy marriage?
Wife is always right.
This is so toxic to men. Men, do not listen to this. This is why marriage doesn't work today. Look at this dude. Look at how pitiful this dude looks. Look at this guy. Look how he looking. He like, shoot. Yeah, unfortunately, she right.
I've gotten a few of those already.
What's your advice?
Wife is always right.
Are you two married?
Yes.
50 odd years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What advice would you give for a long and healthy relationship?
Be considerate of each other's wants and needs and never argue about money.
And she's the boss.
Look at it's always the old people, bro. The old people that y'all go to for advice in the church. The deacons, the elders, the pastors. It's these types of gumps who are teaching you how to be a man. Meanwhile, they are out of shape. They are outside the times, acting like no-fault divorce is not a thing, acting like this is male leadership. This is male leadership to tell men to listen to women. This is leadership. You'd rather listen to a guy like this than a guy like me. Most men in the Christian church would rather listen to that guy than me. Why? Oh, he's older. He's wiser. Just because he's married does not mean that he's a successful marriage, by the way. When's the last time you've had sex, sir? When's the last time that you've not just, choked the chicken in the bathroom? When's the last time that you think, how wants to bet this woman, every single one of these wives have cheated on their husbands for sure. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they definitely have. Because gentlemen, if you're not getting sex in your relationship, she's giving it to somebody. Women don't just go without sex like that. No, they don't. Just so you know. I know you don't want to accept what I just said, but it's true.
How did you learn that?
Over time.
You've just got to be kind to each other and realise each other's wants and needs.
That's beautiful. Okay.
Still the boss.
No, at all.
Oh, jeez.
What? Oh, hell no!
Gentlemen, do you see why I see a need to intervene as a younger guy? I'm a Gen Z guy. These guys like that were the guys I listened to when I was a kid. Not that exact gentleman, but guys like him who would say like, oh, she's a pistol, like that when their wife's disrespecting them, or when their wife's yelling at them, or their wife be really passive aggressive, especially because I'm Caucasian. I'm in the Caucasian church. Black women are different. Asian women are different. All types of people are different. But especially with white people, they'll do this passive aggressive garbage. Like, they won't actually say things. They'll be like, well, why can't you just help me? Like, they'll slam things. They'll be like, they'll huff and they'll puff like the big bad wolf, ready to blow the house down if you don't help them. I picked up on these things as a kid. And it got reinforced in my own relationships and the relationships with my friends, statistics, all these things. And this is why I tell you, women have their own language. You notice how every single time a man said that, they laughed? They laughed because they tamed that guy. That guy is a pocketbook with short hair. He's a hubby. He's not a husband. There's a big difference. Hubby is a guy who's basically like their girlfriend, like one of their friend girls. Husband is a male leader. Most of those men those are the guys who would tell you to man up. Meanwhile, they haven't manned up in their marriage in 50 years. They've never been a man in their marriage, ever. They've never led. They submitted to the wife right away because they wanted to get vagina from them, so they submitted to them. Oh yeah, that's why they did it. Gentlemen, that's not leadership. That is not leadership. So when I talk about learning the language of women, you gotta understand that this is how women get men to turn into men like that. Over time, slowly but surely, they break you down and they change you if you let them do it. They don't do it without your permission. But that's their goal, is to change you, and then by the time they change you, they get bored and they move on. Gentlemen, we need to understand this. So we need to start decoding what they say. We need to start understanding what they're actually saying, not what you think they mean. This is very important. Otherwise, you might end up with like that. And that guy, those men were pathetic. They are weak, and this is why we are living in the world we're living in. I don't care what you say. Oh, they're good married men. No, they're not. No, they're weak. This is why a lot of men of my generation are weak as well. This is why. Because they traded their backbones for some extra bedtime fun. Which now they're getting none of it, by the way. I can guarantee you they're getting none. Because their wife does not respect them. My friends, you take care of yourselves in this arena. Because I can guarantee you, a lot of us are naturally going to go down that way. And the men will tell you as much that you'll win doing that. You won't win. You might win the short term, but you will lose long term doing that strategy. It's a disgrace. My friends, please share your thoughts in your comments about how you've decoded people's messages. If you think I was fair, foul, off base, right on point, please let me know. I would love to hear what you have to say. Please do your own research. I would encourage you to think not with what's below your belt, but with your brain, because that's part of the reason why those men ended up the way they did. My friends, you take care of yourselves. I'm out of here. Peace.